Hi, I'm Andy Magruder of the law firm of Wilkinson Magruder, your local disability attorneys. And I'm here with my law partner, Les Wilkinson, today, and we're answering some commonly asked questions about the Social Security disability process. Les, let me ask you, step 4 of the 5-step sequential process addresses past relevant work. What is past relevant work, and how is that important in terms of Social Security determining whether someone's disabled or not?
Well, Andy, if someone doesn't meet a listing, in other words, you can't pigeonhole their condition that they automatically are disabled, the next step, as you mentioned, is can they do their past work? And past work includes what's called past relevant work, and that's work going back 15 years. So the judge and the vocational expert will go back 15 years and describe what jobs you'd had, what's the DOT number, Dictionary of Occupational Title number, and what's the SVP, Specific Vocational Preparation of that job. And are there any jobs that you might have acquired which would be transferable? So for instance, a person, you come to see us and they say, well, they've been disabled for 2 years, and you go, okay, we go back to 2000 now because that's 15 years prior. What kind of work have you done? Well, let's see. I was a machine operator. I did that for 2 years. Then I worked in a call center for 2 years, and I worked at in a hotel lobby for 2 years. I worked at Walmart as a greeter for 2 years, and they go on down. So you've had a bunch of jobs in that 15-year period, and so eventually the judge is going to have to determine, can you do any of your past relevant work, any of those jobs that you had within that 15-year period. Now, some jobs are too short that they don't include that. But jobs generally you've had for 6 months or longer are included in your past relevant work. I mean, if somebody only worked a month at something, then they didn't acquire enough skills, whatnot, to be considered. But if somebody worked someplace for 6 months, someplace for a year, all those jobs sort of they're within the past relevant work. And if you can do any of those, then you're not disabled.
Now, Les, are they looking at going back to that particular employer in terms of the past relevant work, or how it's generally performed in the economy?
Right. Well, that's one of the things. It's it's not necessarily how you particularly did it, but how it's generally performed. Because otherwise, they have a standard, and did your job deviate from the standard? It might have. For instance, a lot of jobs now, they might call it one thing, but because of the needs of the employer, you might be doing this process one day, another process the next day, and something else the third day. Now, so the way you performed it was a little bit differently than as it's generally performed. And a lot of the jobs under the Dictionary of Occupational Titles, I mean, they were updated like in 1979, 1980. So, and they have not updated the Dictionary of Occupational Titles in decades almost. And so a lot of times you say, well, they don't do that job anymore. And that's the role of the vocational expert, to tell the judge how the job's done.
But just to be clear, just because someone can't do their past relevant work doesn't necessarily mean they're disabled under Social Security's rules. Is that correct?
That's right. Even if you can't do your past relevant work, then they ask for step 5. Can you do any other work, considering your age, your education, your past work experience, and so forth? And that's why we've talked about the grids in some of these videos, and that's why the grids come into play.